Hello everyone, so I'm here with Annette, and Annette had a session, an RTT session about a month ago. Annette, please tell us your experience and how it has impacted you.
Okay, so I met Cannery through Jennifer Anderson, and I did not know what to expect. Wasn't even sure what RTT really was or how it would impact me. I just heard that from Aloha Wellness that Cannery was the weight loss whisperer, and I've seen the positive results that came from that, and I was open-minded and really wanted to see how that could either influence me or direct me. And what I appreciated about Cannery was that she was a very authentic person. She really listened and tapped into what each person was looking for and what they needed. And for me, it wasn't so much for weight loss. I think her true story was what resonated with me. She was willing to be open and honest. And so that alone helped me to connect with her. And when I sat face-to-face with Cannery and she started to do the RTT session, I was surprised. I was surprised that I was able to kind of let myself feel things. And since the session, I'm a pretty stubborn person, so I didn't think that it would work, but it did. It did work. And she has this way of making you feel very comfortable and very safe with her. And so since then, one thing that she asked her in the session was what I was looking for, or what is it that I would hope to achieve. And we used some keywords. She and I talked about some keywords, and even that was hard to come up with. But through the session, we worked out what it is that I was looking for. And oddly, since then, I found that the words that we worked on are working. So for me, it was more about worthiness and feeling assertive instead of aggressive, being able to ask for the things that I need. So it wasn't an outer type of accomplishment. It was something inside. And I see that successful kind of accomplishment every day in my connection with my son, in my connections with my family and friends. So I was skeptical, but now I'm really grateful.
Wonderful. Can you tell us anything that you do on a daily basis, or just any little tips or tools that, like an example of how you are utilizing what you learned from RTT? And I see now that you look different. When you first came in before the session, you seemed a little overwhelmed and distraught, just the weight of the world on your shoulders. And then after, I noticed you had this glow about you, this light in your eyes, and you just looked completely different. That was my experience with you.
Oh, that's nice that you see that.
I totally saw that. You looked much lighter after you left. I was concerned when you came in and you started to open up, and I just wanted to take the weight from you. So
I feel like you did that. And a lot of people have said that to me, that I look different or I look joyful. I think because after we talked, I was able to separate or feel like less burdened.
yeah,
It's almost like I don't take any situation. I can separate the situation from that little girl, or I can take the situation separated. So I'm able to discern. That's the word that we used too.
yeah,
I was discern.
yes, exactly.
And I didn't think of it till I'm talking to you right now. So I can be at work or be talking to a person, and I have this kind of clarity.
Yep.
And it's not so heavy. I don't carry it with me all day. I can make a decision, and it's just the decision.
Yeah.
And it's easier now for some reason. So I do feel lighter. Little decisions used to be so hard.
Yeah.
And it's not like that anymore. It just is what it is. Even with
You're
this,
trusting yourself.
I do. I really do. I don't have to depend on someone else or look to someone else to make sure that what I'm doing is okay. Because it's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And it just feels different.
Because I feel like we have the answers within us.
Yes. It
Yeah.
feels like that. But
And when you can trust your own voice and trust yourself
yes,
to
I
make
trust who to go to.
exactly.
And it just feels like a tethering. Every day feels like a tethering. And the tapes that you send after, it's reinforcing those messages. It's as
Yes.
if you know how to tap in.
Yes.
So you definitely have a gift.
Thank you.
And I'm sure it comes from your life experience, but it's something not a lot of people
It's from
have.
training too.
Well, yes, so you have the knowledge,
Yeah.
the experience, and
Yeah.
training. So I'm glad that I'm so grateful that I met Jenny and then I got to meet you. So I don't think that those things are accidental.
Yeah.
I think anyone would benefit from talking to whatever it is they're looking for. So more than just the outer, I mean, it's obvious that the success from the weight loss, I've seen it.
Yeah.
But for me, it may not be outwardly evident, but it's working in my everyday life.
Well, the success from the weight loss is from starting in the inner mind first, because you have to change and reframe what you believe in order to have an outward change, lasting outward change, because a lot of people are doing things on a conscious level, which is so exterior, but until you change what's inside, you won't need to rely on willpower so much. And you talked so much about that little girl, and that is my favorite part about RTT. I feel like I'm so whole now since I've healed that little girl and that little person, and we don't really realize it. And it doesn't mean that we had bad parenting or bad upbringings or anything. It could be anything that we misinterpret. Someone brushed us off in the 5th grade, or we were bullied or picked on, or the whole class laughed at us, and we're just still carrying that with us. And we really have to reframe it and know that it could have been something else, but that we're still carrying it, and we release it.
Yeah,
so
for whatever reason. Because I saw you say here, you're a sensitive person, you're oversensitive, or you misread something. Like, my parents were great. They came here from another country. They worked really hard. I love them both dearly.
Yeah.
But there was communication gaps, and they're fantastic people. I adored, admire them, and I struggled with, that kind of cultural gap when I was young. So I was just a really, passionate little girl that just kind of maybe didn't fit in.
Yeah.
But I thought there was something wrong with me. There wasn't. But I still carried those kinds of weird feelings. And I wasn't sensitive. I was just maybe confused, but it internalized as something else.
You were kind of suppressed because of that cultural gap, and then you gave yourself permission, and you knew there's nothing wrong with being assertive or a little fun or louder. It was just your personality. And
and you know what? That's a great word that you said. So suppressing that is what I think people will suppress it, and then it'll manifest in other ways.
Absolutely.
Because you try so hard to keep this part of you down.
Yeah.
And then it just doesn't work. And so it comes out as, either sickness or depression or fear, and it prevents you from being the best possible you, the best possible, whatever it is you're meant to be. Healer, singer, whatever it is the world wants you and needs you to be.
Yeah.
And so this session kind of allowed me to see that, and I reparent, for the lack of a better word. So the little girl that you and I talked about, I still see her.
Yeah.
And I'm able to nurture that and protect it, and
she's a part of you now.
Yes.
Which leads to you being nicer to yourself.
Yes.
Because if we really thought about the things that we say to ourselves between our two ears, those words are, we would never say them to anyone else.
Right.
But until you're nice to yourself, treat yourself better, that's when you'll actually feel like you're worthy to have more in life and that you deserve it.
And then it comes to you somehow. It just kind of brings
Yeah.
those things. You manifest it. That word is,
Absolutely.
it's real. It really happens. And I've
Yeah.
seen that.
Because you see it, you visualize it, and then all of a sudden, all of it will start to appear in your life. You'll see it more, but it's because your eyes are open more to, because you feel like you deserve it, and then it will come, and then you just take more action that leads you to more of what you want. You'll just naturally feel that way. It's like when you're thinking about getting a car, or you just buy a car all of a sudden and you see 100 cars on the road just like yours, but before you never noticed it, and it's like part of the acceptance and acknowledging it.
Because you're tuning in.
Exactly.
You're like the key.
Yeah.
For me, you're like the key.
Yeah. So is there anything else you want to say about RTT? And I love the example of the younger Annette, the younger version of you that you're nurturing and healing and loving.
I really liked, I appreciated the session. You have a really great way of being able to, I still see and I picture that version of me and how I can protect her. So I would never say those things. It's interesting. I would never say those things to her, treat her. I always use the word her that way.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what makes it easier. Is that inner critic, I can feel that as an adult, a lot of people won't feel deserving of, or they'll stay in a bad relationship, or they won't speak up. But it's easier now for me to do that because it's for her. When you said the younger Annette and you wrote that I am enough, and that's kind of what it feels like every day. That something happened during that session that makes it easier to value that little girl, which is myself.
You.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that's the glow.
Yeah.
And so it's whatever you definitely have a gift. And
Thank you.
yeah, so
it's
just
my pleasure.
yeah.
I love it so much.
Yeah. Everybody should do it.
I think so. I think everyone could use a little bit of healing, especially during all of this craziness in the world right now.
Yeah. Everyone's really stressed, especially now. Even my own kids, I see it. Nobody has reprieve from, and there's such high amounts of stress, and I see a lot of anger and like angst. So this is
and we don't know what to expect, and
Yeah.
we're all on high alert,
Yes.
and we just don't know what's going to be going on out there. But if we can find some inner peace from
Yes.
within,
Grounded.
yes,
And this
it will
is
help
perfect
us.
for that. Yeah.
It will help us cope with what's going on the outside, at least to the best of our ability, what we can control on the inside.
I agree.
So
Thank you so much for doing this for me.
Oh, well, thank you so much for sharing your experience.
My pleasure.